Hi, this is Chris from the Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from Political Voices Network.
Make your final 20-second pitch. If I've got you right now on a commercial to the world, to every Republican in America, why should they vote for Harris?
Well, I think what I've said, that first of all, if you're a Republican, to me, this is the only way to save the Republican Party. And secondly, Trump is unfit, unqualified.
Amen.
Who was that?
That was just a voter that Joe Walsh was interviewing on his podcast.
Okay.
It is 7 minutes after the hour. I'm Jody Hamilton, sitting in for Stephanie Miller on the Stephanie Miller Show with the lovely and talented Chris Lavoie, who just got back from Durham. How was the show?
The show was great. Rocky Mountain Mike was great. John Pavlovitz was great.
And that's how we pronounce his last name?
Yeah.
Okay. This is interesting, though. Congress has announced a short-term spending deal after Speaker Johnson finally dropped the SAVE Act, which was supposed to basically prevent non-citizens from registering to vote, which is already a thing.
Yep.
They're not allowed to vote.
Yep.
You have to be a citizen of these United States to vote in federal elections. Now, granted, some local municipalities are allowing people that are non-citizens to vote for local stuff, but not federally.
Right.
That's
not,
still against the law.
Exactly.
And anybody that's undocumented is not going to risk his or her life and freedom to vote in an election where they could get thrown in jail for 5 years and have a fine of a lot of money. Or deported.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that they're terrified of. That's why they are hiding out.
Sure.
So it's insane. So the deal includes an additional $233 million to help the Secret Service, which they need, which is part of the reason things have been not well for over a decade.
Right.
The new head of the Secret Service, after the second attempt, and I use that in quotes, of Donald, said at a press conference, he says, we have been underfunded for more than a decade. So it's not Joe Biden's fault. It's not even Donald Trump's fault. It's so many different Congress's fault, because they're the ones that allocate the money. So I'm glad that they're getting additional money, because everybody needs to be protected. Yeah. Even Donald. Yeah. I want him alive so that he can lose and then go to prison for the rest of his short life.
Yes.
That's what I prefer. So the timeline of the deal allows Congress to sidestep a shutdown. Thank you. But people are really upset in the GOP.
Well, of course. I'm sure Trump isn't happy at all.
No. But,
has he trothed about it?
He's trothed about so many things, and he's boring. He says, Chuck Schumer said, while I'm pleased bipartisan negotiations quickly led to a government funding agreement free of cuts and poison pills, the same agreement could have been done 2 weeks ago. You think? Instead, Johnson chose to follow the MAGA way and wasted precious time. And he is absolutely right. And the MAGA people are very upset with Speaker Johnson right now, because Johnson is doing the right thing. Because if the government were shut down, and we are paying attention more than we ever did before when it comes to this stuff. Like, remember in 2013 when they shut it down and people wanted to blame Obama and the Congress was trying to blame him? It's like, but people weren't paying attention like we are now. With this sort of
Republicans are in charge of the House right now.
Exactly.
And it would have hurt Republicans had the government shut down, because it would have shut down right before the election. And that would have affected the election.
It would. In a bad way for them.
Exactly.
So at least they're sort of thinking wisely, and the SAVE Act is a dumb...
Well, they're thinking wisely for their own party.
Well, for themselves.
Right.
I mean, it's certainly selfish. It's not for us.
Right.
It's not for your Social Security. It's not for your Medicare. It's not for
and kicking the can down the road is not effective governing.
No, it's not. CRs are really bad governance, but at least we're good through December. So that's better than it could have been, and hopefully in November, when they are all kicked out.
Great, we're having a lame duck Congress decide our budget.
Our budget, yay, that's fun. But at least at that point, we'll know who is in, who's gotten voted back in, and who is not, and they will have some of them that will have been voted out of office will have no Fs to give, and we'll be like, yes, let's fund the government, because who knows? I'm glad that that's happening, and like I said, the SAVE Act is bull. It's just bull. And there are certain people coming out and saying, oh, why don't the Democrats want to vote for, fair elections and people that can vote? I'm doing my worst Jim Comer. Well, because it's already a thing. It's already illegal. And for them to just, it's stupid. And they were adding other stuff to it. And it's just like, hi, you want to fund the government? I don't like Matt Gaetz.
No.
But I agree with him when it comes to, hi, this bill should be about this.
Yeah.
That bill should be about
Totally.
that. You shouldn't put things into a bill that have nothing to do with what the bill is really about.
Democrats love to do that too, and
I know, they
and
both
and
sides do
I
it.
take them to task every time they try and do that.
Now, when you put things into a bill that has nothing to do with what the bill is really about,
Yep.
you're trying to kill it.
Yeah.
And I, as much as I loathe Matt Gaetz, and I hope he gets arrested soon because of the whole thing, he's right when it comes to, it's a spending bill. Why have a voting rights
Right.
thing in it?
Exactly.
A voting rights bill shouldn't have spending in
Nope.
it, or gun legislation. These should all be separate
Exactly.
bills. And so one thing I agree with that wide foreheaded alleged rapist and sex trafficker.
You could show Lawrence of Arabia on his forehead and still have some room left over.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a widescreen movie.
Or Gravity, because wasn't that an IMAX movie?
Yeah. 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 I'm thinking a Cinerama movie, like it's a mad, 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 mad world.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he does. It's like bangs.
Yeah.
Are your friend, Matt. Bangs. Serious. I have a high forehead. Trust me.
No,
hence
you
the
know
bangs.
what? Then he would look like Herman Munster if he had bangs.
No, Munster didn't have bangs. Didn't he have like a high
He
head?
had bangs.
Oh, yeah, he had, but they were short
Huh?
bangs.
Yeah, but he would look like Herman Munster.
Not as attractive as Herman Munster. By any.
Fred Gwynn was not a looker.
He wasn't, but he was very funny.
Yes, he was.
He was very funny,
My
especially
Cousin
in My
Vinny.
Cousin Vinny. He was
Uh-huh.
very two Utes. He was very, very funny. So, speaking of voting, and so Nebraska Republicans may change the law from where they separate their votes.
They're electoral votes.
Their electoral votes,
Yeah.
because there are two.
Right.
And well, there are five, I believe, but two go. One goes to the other, and then there's three more that can go based on the county voting.
Yeah.
So they're thinking of changing it right now. So a Republican nominee is speaking to the state legislatures in a second attempt to usher a bill through the legislature that would change the state's vote allocation and take away Vice President Harris's chance to win one of the state's 5 votes.
Yep.
Nebraska and Maine are the only states that do not follow the winner-take-all system.
Right.
Nebraska, 2 of the 5 votes are awarded to the candidate who wins the most votes statewide. The other 3 go to the winners of each of the state's congressional districts.
Yeah. So they've tried to do this before, but the thing that has stopped them every time, and what will probably stop them this time, is that Maine has always threatened to change their system as well. And Maine would go to a Democrat, which would completely cancel out what Nebraska is trying to do.
Right.
So that's probably what's going to happen.
Well, what
this
this is saying is Maine is now out of the picture. There's no longer the opportunity for Maine to make the same change because it's too late,
Okay.
which could have neutralized the effect of Nebraska putting an additional electoral vote. Maine House Majority Leader Maureen Terry said if Nebraska acts on changing its system, Maine will do the same and take away the electoral vote that he won when he created. But now Maine doesn't have the ability to change their electoral vote system because it takes 90 days for legislation to go into effect after it's been enacted by the Maine legislature, which could be too late for the December 17th meeting of the Electoral College.
Okay.
So
Nebraska is thinking of changing their entire system that they've had for a very long time, just for one election.
right. And remember in 2020...
That's politically expedient.
And remember in 2020, the Republicans were complaining about mail-in voting because of the first in a 100-year pandemic.
Yep.
So people could actually vote. And so everybody was upset that Pennsylvania changed their rules, California changed their rules. A lot of states went, nope, everybody can vote absentee. And the Republicans were upset. Now Nebraska is trying to do it even closer to the election.
Yep.
Because the pandemic for us started in March of 2020. So people were like, okay, we've got to figure this out. They had months to figure this out. This is a minute before the election. And so the GOP in Nebraska is being the GOP.
Yep.
And so it's annoying to say the least. And I am hoping that it doesn't happen. But if it does, then Nebraska, you got some working to do. Nebraska Dems, you've got to get those 2 votes.
Well, they know it. They know it.
Yeah. Well, Nick knows.
Yes.
So he's working on it, right?
Sure. Nick and Brady.
Nick and Brady are working on it.
Brady is his more is his old college roommate, and Brady is
more political.
Yeah.
All right. So Brady, it's on you.
Yeah.
You're the guy. You're it. The entire state is depending on you.
Yep.
The entire country is depending on you, Brady. And without you, I don't know what we're going to do. at this point. But yeah, so I mean, I understand why they want to do it, because they want to steal votes from the lady. But it looks like North Carolina might be in her pocket now because of Mr. Robbins.
Uh-huh.
It's I'm sure those jokes were hilarious on Saturday.
Oh well, yeah. We played Rocky Mountain Mike's
Song.
Yeah.
You hadn't heard it yet, had you?
I hadn't heard it yet. No.
It was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. There's no denying it. The vibes are really good right now. But vibes alone won't save our democracy. We need votes. At the Grassroots Democrats HQ, we know what it takes to win elections. Knocking doors, making calls, sending texts, and writing postcards. If we're going to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and give them the Democratic Congress to pass their agenda, then we need to roll up our sleeves and talk to a record number of voters between now and November 5th. But let's be clear, we can't do it without you. So, are you ready to work? This is a fight for freedom and our future, and everything is at stake. Don't wake up on November 6th wishing you had done more. Join us. Go to grassrootsdems.org today to sign up to volunteer, and let's go win this thing.